everyone, it's Jennifer again. So I'm going to explain a little bit about our container system because so many people will get their pack in and it just gets a little overwhelming, and I totally get it. I thought the same thing at first. I'm just making this video real quick while the kiddos are napping, but I wanted to make sure and get it in for you guys so that you could understand it. Now, when you get your packs in, the very first thing that you need to do is open up your containers and read your guide. Now, I would say read it front to back. Everything in here is helpful. There are times I still will open this up and I use it as a resource all the time, but I'll go through and I'll read it, and I think I have pretty much most of it down now, but there's so many things in here, from what is a protein, what is a carb, what falls under a healthy fat, like all that stuff. And also it explains our method. Now, before I get started on this, let me just kind of explain that this, you have to trust me, because so many people are going to look at this method, and from your experience and maybe your diets before, you have not had a lot of food, you have felt hungry, you've felt deprived, you've cut out carbs, you've cut out a certain food group, and maybe you did get results with that. But with this method, this eating plan, y'all, it is a sustainable long-term eating plan. Like, you're not going to just do it for the 21 days and be like, okay, I can't do that anymore. Like, I've got to go back to my normal habits. The thing I love about this eating plan is that you can still eat all the food groups that you want. Now, here's what I want to say. I would say commit 100% to the next 21 days and do it to the T. Of course, you're going to cut out sugar, and you're not going to want to eat ice cream and stuff like that, because of course you want to get the full results the first group. Now, once you get through the first 21 days, if you want to slowly kind of wean in, like, or wean back in, ice cream or something like that occasionally, I think, but let's not talk about that right now. Let's just talk about getting started. Like I said before, make sure that your pantry's cleaned out and that you don't have any of your temptations in your house. Like, if you're really tempted by candy bars or anything like that, just don't have it on hand. Get rid of it. Eat it all up this week and get rid of it. Don't restock. Now, the best thing about this method is you're not going to be counting your calories all day. I love that, because you can count your calories and it can become so consuming, and you can eat all the bad calories, or you can come to noon and you have all your calories eaten. Well, what are you going to do the rest of the day? So that's another reason why I like this, because it spreads it out for you, and it focuses on portion control. Now, if you ever try to do really good on healthy eating, and you get stocked up on like fish and meat and really good vegetables, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, but you don't really lose weight. Well, sometimes the problem is the portion control. Healthy eating is like number one. That's going to be the number one way you're going to lose weight, but portion control is pretty close to is real neck and neck. Because, you can overeat good food. You really can. And lots of people don't realize that. You can overeat broccoli. You can overeat chicken. You can overeat. And so many of us have trained our stomachs to eat when we go out to eat or when we serve. Like, we think that we need the whole chicken breast at a serving. And really, we only need half. And sometimes less than half, because the chicken breasts are so big these days. So what I'm saying is, you're going to look at this, and I'm sure you're going to say, that's a lot of food, that's too many calories, I want to lose weight. Trust me, okay? Trust me. I've been in this, I've done this long enough to see that it works. Now, the first thing that you're going to do with your guide, you are going to come up with your formula. So basically, you're going to put in your weight, and you're going to times it, and you're going to add, and you're going to subtract some different things too. But that's the first thing that you need to do. That's going to put you on the eating plan A through F, okay? And that tells you how many calories you need. Now, that's the only time you're going to look at calories for this, because otherwise you're going to have the meal plan and you're going to have the containers that you need every day, and that's what you're going to focus on. So portion control is what we're going to focus on. You can see all these different colored tubs. Each tub represents a food group, and you'll read all about that in your book. Now, it's really great too, because blue is healthy fats. Now, there's lots of fats out there, but you can go and you can look in your book. Very simple resource, and this might even be something that you want to carry around with you. I forget what page the blue's on. Okay. So it just basically tells you the container that you have and all the foods that can go in it. It breaks it down to 12 almonds, an avocado mashed or 1/4 a medium size. Okay, so it literally makes it so simple. You don't have to do any work. And so now, knowing all this stuff, it can get overwhelming. It can get a little bit, I mean, it's why many people choose not to get healthy, because it's a little harder than normal. It's easier not to. So I'm just going to explain a few tips on how I like to do it. One of the ways that this method cannot be so overwhelming is for you to meal prep. Okay, I like to do my meal prep on Sundays. It takes me maybe about, from grocery shopping to meal prepping, it's probably about 2 hours. Grocery store and back, and prepping everything. I don't prep all of my meals because we have a big family, and I usually will kind of cut all the vegetables up and put them in bags and make it easy to where when I go get my meal, it's very easily accessible. But if you may prefer prepping your meals, like for example, one day a week, setting aside some time and preparing, maybe 7 chicken breast, or, if you're doing it with a partner, or several, just a lump sum of protein, like have that pre-cooked, so that way you don't have to do that for every meal, because obviously if you are away from your house every day, you're not going to be able to cook all those meals. So meal prepping and setting them all aside and putting them in Tupperwares or Ziploc bags and laying them out for the whole day, that makes it so simple. And I'll be posting more pictures, but what you want in this method is you're going to have 5 to 6 meals a day. You're going to have breakfast, you're going to have second breakfast, you're going to have lunch, second lunch, dinner, and snack. And yep, it seems like a lot of food, but our bodies, what happens so many times, people don't understand, and they come to me all the time and they want to lose weight, and they think, okay, I'm just going to have 1,000 calories today. Well, your body just goes into storing the fat mode, and it's actually working against what you really want it to do. And that's a lot of science, and we're not going to go into that right now. But another thing I wanted to share is that make sure, so for example, the green is vegetables, and so whenever I'm measuring out like if I need to have a green and a red and a purple for one meal, then I'll just measure. I kind of have it memorized now, but I pulled them back out to kind of help you guys out. And green is 1 cup and purple is a cup, and then there's 3/4 and I think 2/3 maybe. But they're all measurements, and so that way, like for example, if you're making a salad for your second lunch, you'll pack this baby up with vegetables, lettuce, whatever you want. The only thing is you want to make sure that you can still fit the lid on it, so you can squeeze a lot of spinach into there. Instead of eating 3 big meals, we're going to eat, like I said, 5 to 6 meals. Now, you don't have to have that 6th meal. The 6th meal really is in there, a snack at the end for, if it's 7 or 8 o'clock and you've drank all your water and you've ate all of your containers and you still feel hungry, sometimes that happens. Sometimes, especially in 2 or 3 days, whenever you've kind of changed up your metabolism, you You might feel hungry. You don't ever want to be hungry. Never want to be hungry. If your body is truly hungry, then you need to nourish it. Because that's when, especially before you go to bed, because you're going, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours without food, and you don't want to go to bed hungry. Now there's a difference between being truly hungry and being bored hungry or emotional eating hungry. So make sure you can recognize that too. There's several different ideas in this book, and there's several things that we'll talk about, recipe sharing, but the book is very helpful. And really the biggest part is just going to be looking at your day. What does your day look like? What time of day are you going to be able to eat to fit all your containers? And you don't want to get to dinner and have several containers left because you haven't eaten all day. That's not how the program is supposed to work. You're going to want to eat every 2 to 3 hours. I say every 2 hours. It's going to take a little bit to get used to. Now, if you're working at a desk all day, or if you're out and about doing stuff, never leave the house without a meal. I always say that now. And I try to always do that. Never leave the house without a meal. And when I say meal, I mean one of these meals. It might be 2 eggs and a healthy fat. It might be a green and a blue. It might be a green and a yellow and a blue. Whatever I'm needing for that day, I'll put in a Ziploc and put it in my cool lunchbox. And then that way, because sometimes even just running the errand, you think it's going to take 30 minutes and it can end up taking 2. And then you find yourself so hungry, and then you want to run through fast food or whatever. So number one thing is going to be planning, sitting down before your week starts, looking at your day. What all do you have? If you know that you have like maybe a work lunch, and you're going to go to lunch with employees, this plan is still very, very doable. That's why I love it. It's not like you have to go and you have to be like, I can't eat anything. Best scenario would be, bring what you prep for lunch and eat that, but that's not always ideal, especially in the business world. So I would just be prepared before you do that on what containers you need to get in. If you need to take your containers with you, just so you can measure out, like, for example, let's say that you go to the Mexican restaurant for lunch, and you know that you have to have a green and a yellow and a red. Well, that's 3/4 cup of chicken or beef, and then you've got a cup of vegetables. That won't be hard to get. And then a carb, which is a flour, or I'm on a different plane now, so I'm trying to remember. I think for this one, it would be a corn tortilla. Let's look just to see, make sure. I should know this. Yep. So a yellow could count as tortilla chips, and yeah. So that's pretty awesome. So you could actually go to the Mexican restaurant. You could do, I think it's 6 chips and then chicken and your vegetables. So it's very doable. Lots of people think that they look at it and they just get overwhelmed, and it can become like that, but there's no problem. After the first week, you'll have it down and you'll get in a routine. You just got to figure out an hour, or I would say for newbies, set 2 hours aside to sit down, look over your guide, make your meal plan for the whole week. What are you going to have for each meal in your day? Prep anything that you need to prep, go to the grocery store and all that kind of stuff. So I hope this helps. We're still learning together. I'm still learning, and I am happy to answer any questions. If you need to reach out to me, do it. I'm so excited about these containers for you guys, because it does make things way simpler.